Uh, Sorry about the technical difficulties. Don't exactly know what happened. I was about to make fun of my good friend and my co-host Jonathan Vallejo, and then he decided to leave. So personally, fuck him, and I'm a little bit offended. But let's get back into it. All right, man. So this is what I was gonna ask you. Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. Like you're just like, look, man, I'm trying to make these white people feel real comfortable. So I'm gonna buy this sweater and just like you look like the asshole that cusses people out when your coffee isn't right. Like I just and we already know your barista issue for the rants, right? Like
Right.
that's been evident.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering, like, does that sweater come with like penny loafers, or you like change when you get home? Like, honey, I'm home, and you got the little patchy jacket with it. You do, don't you? You have a patchy jacket. You son
I
of a
don't.
bitch.
I do have a sport jacket. No, I need a sport jacket. I might get the patchy one though. That's a good idea.
You should.
Two,
You totally should.
I live in this place called Strongsville, and it's 97.3% white. And the other percentages that aren't white, that are whatever else they are, I'm the one person that's Hispanic. My wife is the other person that's Asian, and then whatever other denominate or whatever other ethnicities, they don't live in this household. But we make up the rest of the minorities in this neighborhood. All right. So yes, I've got the blue Banana Republic sweater over my button down. I work
blue. Okay.
I work in a very boring ass industry in audit and finance, and so I have to dress the part. That's what it is. And I didn't feel like changing, and I figured that you would say something, and I took the chance to go on with the sweater anyway to see what kind of shit you were going to talk, and you didn't fail.
I appreciate
it. You didn't let me down.
And thank you, man. Hey, man, 20 plus years of this. I just want to say I appreciate you wearing that sweater for this podcast. You brought the credit score of our podcast up at least 40 points.
You know I believe like, for sure. Sweater, we're gonna get some like advertising money pretty soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get like fucking Acorn or some shit to some kind of banking company to get us.
That's right.
Man, they got a financier on their podcast. You get to get this guy on.
Hey, that's right. Look, if you guys see like a 15-second break, that's gonna be an ad for Acorns, and we're getting paid, and it's all because of the sweater. So we'll be right back for a quick commercial break. This is brought to you by Acorns.
That sweater looks like a guy doing a herpes commercial. Like,
oh Jesus!
Like you know how they always have the people dressed. They always have the people like dressed and like smiling and shit.
That's right,
dude. There's one commercial. I forget. I think it's like Trulicity or some shit. I don't know if like they fucking watch this shit. And I personally don't give a fuck. But Trulicity were like I think it's for like HIV or some shit, right? Like some pill. Mm-hmm. But all the people in the commercial are gay, right? I was like, I'm watching this like, wait a second, like, so only people that are gay have HIV? Like, oh, this helps with my symptoms of HIV or AIDS. I was like one guy's, you got like transgenders and all that shit. Is like 4 different people. First of all, they're all black, right, and they're all gay. I was like, this is weird. Like, what am I watching right now? Like, I was like,
you're watching
straight people have AIDS. Like,
it's a hell of a party.
Like, this is. Yeah, I'm saying like this is the only people that have AIDS. Like that's like if you're watching that and you're dumb, right? You watch that for what it is and you take it at face value, you think only gay people and black people have AIDS.
That's right. Like, I know someone watching that would be like, that's what they get.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they get. Those infidels, all that shit.
Speaking of those commercials, those are. I like to listen to the part that's sped up like 3 times over at the end.
Yep.
That tells you all the stuff and all the side effects. And if you take this because you don't want like acne on your face, you might get like extremely loose bowels and
anal leakage.
Anal leakage. I'm like, for what? For acne? Yeah. I'm gonna get possible anal leakage, and I may develop insomnia. And what? Nah, dude. I'd rather have a fucking pimple on my face.
Like, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna do that pimple right. I'm gonna write out that pimple.
Yeah,
shit doesn't make any kind of sense. I was like, wait, this is a cream. Why is my hair falling out? Like, what the fuck? Like, I put it on my face and I got alopecia now? Like, how is this a side effect that makes sense? Shit is stupid. So obviously before you booted yourself out for me making fun of that Mr. Rogers good credit sweater. Let me ask you something. When you applied for the loan on your house, right? You wore that sweater, right?
You
did.
I have burgundy one. I think that's the one I wore. Yeah, burgundy is Republican, conservative colors. These are my liberal Democrat colors. As you can see, blue and light blue. When I applied for the loan, it was definitely the burgundy one. Absolutely.
You got the conservative Democrat and the progressive colors on right now.
I got to cover all the bases, man.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man. So obviously, like I said, this isn't going to be the podcast where we talk politics. I leave that to my social media and my 86 comments on arguing. Now, the only thing I'm going to ask you, right? Like I said, we weren't going to talk politics, but this is social media conversation. Like, did you notice? I don't know if you read them all because, first of all, it's ridiculous. Your brother went all the way.
He went all in. I don't know
what the fuck. All in. Like, he got called the cuck by my boy Sadi. Shout out to my boy. He's hilarious.
He got called the cuck. Someone's mom was getting screwed in the backseat of a fucking panel van or something. I don't know what's going on.
Dude, it was so specific. Like, what? Like you thought this through, man. Like why is it in a van?
Maybe I said that. I don't know. I think that was my comment. But the thing is, the insults are so specific. I forgot that they were talking about like a political issue.
Dude, like I'm reading all these things, right? Like obviously I go on my little rant because whatever. But like none of the comments pertain to what I even said, right? Like I was like. Because I'm bringing up the fact like, yo, man, like we've clearly been lied to before. Let's just take a second. You know what I mean? Let's just chill. But everybody's like, everybody goes to their corners. I was like, bro, what the? Nobody read what I wrote. They just went, like, yo, keep that. You gotta keep that post to your own Facebook because you didn't even respond. It's like I'm talking about the Heat. Everybody's like, nah, man, but the '92 Lakers. Like, what the fuck? What? Like, what are we talking about right now? It was so strange. Man. Like nobody. I read most of them. Right, because then it just got stupid towards the end.
Yeah,
but I read most of them. It was just like none of it was like responding to what I asked. Like even people are like, I served with, I was in Hawaii with. I was like, bro, like we're talking about two different things here. So I didn't even like want to respond because then I'm changing the argument. You know what I mean? Then I was like, bro, this is so crazy. And after that, like I didn't do it again, but I did share memes because memes are hilarious.
I'll be honest with you.
World War III memes were fucking classic, bro.
Yeah,
classic.
Memes is a big thing that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like after 3 or 4 of those responses, those comments, I forget. I don't even remember what that post was about, honestly, because I just got suckered into reading these back and forths between your boy and my brother, and I was like, just like, where's the story going next? Yeah, that was a classic,
dude. It was so like so the post. If you haven't seen it, well, this is Facebook, so you've seen it by now. My post, I was saying that, like, yo, man, like, we don't even know who this person is. Not gonna get into it. Like, we were told, you know what I mean, at the beginning of the 2000s, that this is what we should worry about. Now there's been, you know what I mean, like, without getting into the particulars. Now all of a sudden you want to, like, it was just so strange, bro. It was like, yo, man, take a second. Like, we're being told who to fear again, bro. Like, we've seen this movie before. And people died, you know what I mean, for like totally unrelated reasons that ended up being complete bullshit. Let's take a second, man. Like, and I take that shit kind of personally because, you know what I mean, you served, I served, you were overseas. I volunteered a couple times. You know, obviously never made it to the sand, but I had friends that went over there. Like, I don't take that shit lightly, bro. For people just to be like, oh man, let's fucking go, especially for like. I'm gonna tread lightly here because one of them's related to you. It's the other brother. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like you see people like posting all shit like, "Hey, bro, let's calm down." Like I like in that moment, I wanted to go hard, and a lot of people saying like, "Yo, man, I'm fucking in." I was like, "Hey."
But almost none of those people are going, whether they're in shape or not. They're not going. But they're the first ones to be like, "Let's go. Let's send everybody over there except me."
That's why everybody fucking goes like, "Hey, man, you're collecting Social Security. They're not gonna let you in, bro." Like, there's an age cutoff here for a reason. Yeah. You're 85 with no knees. Let's chill out with this. Let's fucking go to war shit because you're not the one fighting in it.
Yeah.
But all right, moving on. The World War III memes were some of the greatest memes I've ever seen, bro. Like, yeah, it was terrifying, but also hilarious, right? Because they're like for those 18 hours that we didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen. Those memes took over and made everything tolerable. Like. They were so funny, bro.
Yeah, bro. I wanted to talk. I read some stuff about because those came from like what Generation Z. That's probably who was making those memes. because
Mhm.
this whole thing with Iran, like in that time when you don't know what's going to happen, you can that's like their version of our 9/11, which in 9/11 was like
Yep.
our version, and this Afghanistan war is our version of the Vietnam War, right? And so these kids they're the ones that are making these memes, and at the end of the day, like a meme or comedy or anything, it's just a way to like make things light, like deal with a stressful thing, things that you're deal with fear, and how you make light of it. And they were hilarious, and even more hilarious are the, I'm gonna say it, millennials like me, like the older ones, Pepsi generation, baby boomers. Who came before them? The greatest generation. If they're still around, they need to go ahead and just die off because they're just using up all the resources.
I think they're pretty much.
But
I think they're pretty much dead.
They're losing their goddamn minds. Yeah, they were losing their minds over these memes. I'm like, what do you think happened during 9/11 during Vietnam? Like, it's comedy, man. Like, these kids, they may not be affected, but if something were to have popped off and then we declare war, what happens? Some of them are not old enough, but in 2-3 years time, the ones that aren't old enough will be old enough to go to enlist, right? Just like in 2003 we went to war. In 2004 in January I went off to basic training. I mean, I wasn't drafted, but case in point, that was like that was the conflict of my generation, and this could have been theirs. People were losing their mind. And I thought it was funny. There were some good ones there.
I saw like a bunch of. So again, like, this isn't political talk. This is just social media commentary.
Yeah,
like, I just like to clarify that, because before people are like, oh, you fucking progressives, you fucking libs, you fucking, like, no. Let's calm down there. First of all, 98% of y'all can't beat me in a fight, and the other 2% are too old, then I won't fight you anyway. So, but you know what I mean? Like, like, I saw people like, when all this shit is happening, for legit, it was scary, right? Like, if even if you bullshit it or like, oh, I'm glad they didn't do anything now, and they called ahead to where they were gonna missile strike, there was a legit moment in there where I'm like, yo, man, like, this shit can really pop off. Like, I was like honest, because like, and I'm talking to my brother. He's like, nah, man, chill. You know what I mean? He knows some shit. I was like, I've heard, like, the thing is, like, I've heard chill before. Like, I've heard, oh, it'll be over in 24 to 48 hours. I've heard, like, I'm telling people that, like, my boy that said that shit, I was like, yo, I agree with you, because he was a Marine, right? I was like, I agree with you, but again, there's no money in a quick victory, right? Just like there's no money in the cure. You know what I mean? There's only money in the treatment and money in the war. Like, there's companies and corporations that are built on this shit, that are built for this shit, that the defense contractors spent, you know what I mean? The defense bill goes towards, and all that money. This is why they're giving that money, and we're giving the peanuts. You know what I mean? Like, that was
the part of a protracted war.
Skipped over like, yeah, exactly. Like, dude, we've been in 2 conflicts for the last 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, half of our life has been in conflict, and we've lost 4,500 soldiers for. You know what I mean? Like, and again, 15. Like, it was so weird, because it was like, everybody's like, oh man, Iran, they did this. I was like, bro, like, you didn't know who this guy was before this missile. Like, you had never heard of him. Like, everybody had heard of Osama bin Laden, right? Everybody knew who he was. You heard about that name for decades. Anybody who tells you they knew who this guy was, media wasn't talking about him. Nobody shared a meme, some stupid shit. Nobody said a fucking thing. But they were like, oh man, now we're safer. I was like, nigga, that's the boogeyman. Like, you didn't actually see him. Like, no, you didn't know he existed until like, this isn't, was it a Candyman that you, or whatever? Like, what's the shit that when we were kids, they would tell you, like, oh man, go in the bathroom, turn the lights off,
Candyman,
say this thing. Yeah, Candyman, or like La Bruja or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like, you didn't know this person didn't exist to you until this person was no longer there. So how was that person a fear? Like, it was just, I was looking at it, and then you watch like different people like, oh man, this is all Obama's fault. And again, commenting on their social media. I was like, what are we talking about right now, bro? But dude, it was the memes, beautiful.
They were, yeah, man, they were. And I didn't pay attention to that whole thing. Like, I mean, I did, and I was like, oh, it's getting serious. Maybe I should start paying attention to the news again, because that whole impeachment thing, and then the conflict with, like, I was just like, no, I'm gonna not watch the news until it hits the shores, or it affects my kids, or it comes, it comes to our shores. But it was, I had to start paying attention, because it was, for a second there, it got serious. I mean, there were airstrikes and missile strikes. I mean, so it got serious. It got scary. But that's also we're talking about memes and social media. Like it's two different. It's a generational issue. Generation Z, they go on Facebook not to do what your mom and dad do to like keep in touch with people and update people. Like, hey, I'm traveling. Shit, like what I do sometimes. Hey, I'm going to or whatever. Get off the couch. Get your lazy ass off the couch and go run 5 miles. Right? You don't need any equipment.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of that, David Goggins. Fucking love watching those videos. Dude's a monster.
But that guy's a monster, bro. That guy.
Yeah. I love watching those ridiculous videos. I just want to show them to people that don't want to do anything. But social media in this day and age for like Generation Z, they don't do it to do that. They just do it for memes and videos, not to interact with people. So they just go on there and find some crazy, create a meme and then put it up. And then everyone else that's on there trying to catch up with their friends or trying to hate like people's posts, they're going to be like, what is this? Yeah. These fucking kids don't have any idea what they're talking about. And then everyone loses.
They don't have any respect and not that, yada, yada. Like, bro, it's just comedy, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is, it's legit. Like, right? I think the first, like, 12 to 14 hours, like, the memes were on fire. And then when, like, it got a little quiet, right? People weren't sharing the memes as much. Because it was like, oh, man, they might answer back. Like, we might really be in some shit. Like, even the conversation I had with friends, right?
Right.
It was funny memes, like World War III getting drafted memes. By the way, I saw one that was hilarious. It was like, it's a fake picture, right? So it's like the face of a guy on the body of a pregnant woman, and it goes like me if the draft starts. Like that shit is just, that's funny, bro. Like, that's fucking funny. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I appreciate that. But then when they're getting ready to respond, like all my friends are like, man, I hope they don't. You know what I mean? Like the ones that don't know, like the ones that are just civilians, they're like, man, I hope they don't. You know what I mean? Like it starts getting a little scary. You know what I mean? I was like, well, yeah, bro. Like lives can potentially be at risk because this dude is on Adderall. First of all, okay, this is social commentary. I got a serious.
Is that what you're gonna mask it on there?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm gonna mask it on because it is. Like, listen, we both speak into microphones, right? Well, not for a living, but for a hobby, and eventually, hopefully, for a living where we have like a studio and this shit blows up. Honestly, right? Now, what's up with the sniffles, bro? Have you seen the video of his of Donald Trump's press conference when you hear, dude, like that there's like an edit where they just I found it on YouTube and it's hilarious. They like synced his sniffles to like a song. Dude, like the amount of air he takes in while he's talking is it's strange. Like it's like if I'm talking the whole time, like you know what I mean? Like that's dude is like what is happening? So like Twitter went bananas. They started saying that he was on Adderall, that he's on speed, probably doing some coke because he doesn't sleep, has terrible eating habits. Like that we try to find some of those comments on Twitter. Like his dentures were falling out of his mouth. I was like, again, like it goes to the comedy of it, right? Like, yeah, we might go to war, but this dude can't stop sniffling. Like for a second, it was just like the comedy of it, right? Like just when people made fun of Barack for like putting mustard on his or Grey Poupon on his hot dog,
right?
You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to comment and laugh at both. Like that's just funny, man. Like, dude, the comments on Twitter though were great. But the memes got me through it, man. Like, because that shit was stressful. Like, I'm checking in with my brother. Like, yo, man, is everything cool? Like, are you all right? It's like, yeah, man, I'm in fucking vacation in Japan, bro. I'm good. Don't worry about me. He took like 2 weeks off work the first 2 weeks. But he's having a great fucking time, man.
For him.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But why do you think your brother, unrelated question, but related, your brother got called a cuck, right? How?
I don't know where that shit came from. They don't know each other. And if they do know each other, like, does he know something that I don't know? I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Like I just got questions. Like that's pretty specific. Like I feel like I was like, my God, man, like this shit got real. Like it was just so weird, dude. It was so weird. So, what was I gonna ask you? Yeah. So you were traveling. I don't do segues. I just move right on to another topic.
I know. I have to like if I catch you in time, I'll do a segue for you. But you didn't give me a chance.
Yeah. Nope. So you were traveling because, like you said, you weren't paying attention because you were out. You were out of the state, not out of the country. But you went down to VA. So how was that, man?
Man, it was relaxing. We just went and spent time with the family, with Mel's sisters and my nieces, and I kind of worked from home over there. Took some time off. It was not Ohio, which means it wasn't like 20 degrees or whatever the hell it is right now. I think it was in like the 50s. Um, yeah, it's a 9-hour drive, so it was a good time for. I think this was the first time that Javi jumped in the passenger side, and he was my co-pilot as opposed. It's usually like my wife or my older son sometimes, but Javi, my 11-year-old, jumped in there, and so it was a lot of, hey dad, let's play 21 questions, or
wow,
whatever car games. I'm like, I was like, no, not right now, but I was like, we got 9 hours. Take a nap.
yeah.
Look out the window. Let's listen to some music. Let's talk. But 21 questions drives me crazy.
Yeah,
yeah, but it's a good time. What's that?
I said let's pace ourselves. Like 21 questions right off the bat is a lot.
Right. Yeah, we maybe just barely get on. Not even. Like we might be leaving the house and go to the gas station, and as soon as I close that door after fill up the tank, he's like, "Hey, let's play 21 questions." So let us get on the interstate first. We're 5 minutes from the house. Come on, work with me. But it was fun, man. It was a good time. It was good to get away from here for a while and go see family. And at some point I'm gonna have to go.
Your wife's family?
Yeah, my wife's family. So when I came, I was recruiting for 3 years, and I was stationed in Korea before that. And but I PCS. I moved to the States like 9 or 10 months before she did, and so when I was going to recruiting school and kind of my first 8 or 9 months recruiting before Mel and the kids came over, I was going on 3 and 4 day weekends. I was going to Virginia and like spending it over there with her family. Like they had barely met me because Mel and I met in Korea, and then we all met at the wedding and stuff like that. You met the big family. You met them at the wedding, and but yeah, it was just like they'd known me their entire life. Like, it was awesome. So every time, almost every time we go over there, it's a good time. It's good to be around and kind of get away from work and relax. And I definitely ate a lot. I definitely was not on keto. Good Filipino food. I ate a lot.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. I actually started right before New Year's. I started intermittent fasting. Right, like we talked about it. Like I guess I posted up about it. And it's not like this isn't like a fucking like I'm not gonna go vegan with this shit, right? Like with my propaganda of it and all that stuff. Like do whatever works for you, bro. I personally don't give a fuck. But for me, like my struggles, I've always been eating too early in the morning because of work. Like today, I was up like at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? So like if I have to wait till noon, that's 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then again, like I didn't know this. Like this is the things that I learned about it. Like I thought intermittent fasting is ended when you eat, right? Like if you as soon as you eat, you're done with your fast. Actually, no, it's like anything other than water. So if you have anything other than water that you consume, like coffee or energy drinks, all that immediately breaks your fasting because your body, like I was watching videos about it, like your body breaks it down. Your body has to break it down, so your body is automatically starting to work. Right? It's just about being like in a weight like a fat negative type of thing, whatever. Mm-hmm. But dude, like when I like do it and I really stick to it, you know what I mean? Like when I'm home, I'm a lot better with it, right? Like being 100%. Right. Like I feel stronger, I feel clearer, I remember more shit. I'm not hangry. Like I thought I would be like, you know what I mean, like angry and because I'm hungry and shit. Like I'm not that way. You know what I mean? I'm angry enough as it is. Like I go on enough rants.
That's a you problem.
I don't need to be more. Yeah, that's a me problem, not a food problem. So it's just all those habits of it, man. Like I really enjoy it. Like it's today's like so my wife and I have been doing it, and I think we've been doing it for. I think I started like 2 days before she did. Mm-hmm. So I've probably been doing it for about 10 days now, right? Like 10, 11 days. She's been doing it for about 7. She's lost some weight. I've lost some weight. But today's like our first like cheat day where you just have one day where you start back from, you know what I mean? Like you just eat regularly. And then and then at the end, like after this, so this podcast will end I'm probably around 8. Mm-hmm. And like that'll be my last meal. And then I won't eat again till like tomorrow at noon. And it's honestly not that hard, bro. Like I just keep myself busy and drink an insane amount of water, bro. Like an insane amount of water. Like it's honestly annoying, bro. Like it's annoying how many times I have to get up to piss. Like I can't sleep through the night. Like and like dude, sorry, I'm being a little graphic, but fuck it. Like dude, I pissed the other day for like 16 minutes straight. Well, I'm just like, bro, like this. I just went to the bathroom. Like this just happened.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I've done everything. I've done vegetarian, keto. I've tried the vegan thing. I tried a juice. Yeah, juice for a while.
Dudes.
No, that's you.
Men.
No, that's you.
No,
that's you. You and your buddy.
Everybody heard it.
I heard juice.
Yeah.
Juice, yeah.
No. Yeah, my wife is Jewish, so I do. Yeah, that happens.
But
it's okay.
It's kosher.
The other white meat.
Oh, Jesus. God, she's gonna throw a shoe at you right now.
Oh, son, I'm gonna get my ass whooped. Oh
God. I couldn't do the vegan.
I'm about to get Rihanna and she's Chris Brown, huh?
I couldn't do the vegan thing.
No.
At the end of the day, what worked for me, whether you're doing vegetarian or whether you're like, it's just I've said it before. Just buy your food, shop on the outside aisles, right? So nothing that's on the inside aisles or that processed and boxed stuff. So what's on the outside? Like vegetables and like seeds, nuts, and meat. That's it. So whatever, whether you're like primal, essentially, which is what I'm doing now, which is really what I've kind of almost always done, or for the last 10 years. It's just mostly chicken and meat and pork and then vegetables. And that's been it for me. You know, like I don't really eat bread.
Right.
I'll do it every once in a while. I don't really eat rice. I mean, there are certain meals that, you know, my wife cooks and I'll cook and they go with rice, but you know, the amount of rice that I eat is really insignificant. And so for the most part, it's really eating that way has always been low carb, because even if you eat like the strictest keto enthusiasts know that, like, in order for you to get a lot of carbs from vegetables, you have to eat an insane amount of vegetables, because they have carbs, but they're not that rich in carbs unless you're eating like sweet potatoes or some stuff like that. And then you're gonna. But yeah, man. And then I threw in intermittent fasting, or you know, some people call it that. Some people call it time restricted feeding, TRF.
And, same thing.
And I'm on that same schedule. Like I don't eat. I go 16, 17 hours without eating. Usually when I get home between 4 and like 8 or 9 o'clock at night is when I eat. And usually it's just like one big meal, or one. It doesn't even have to be that big, because throughout the day I'm drinking water. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people. They think they're hungry. No, just drink some water. Like, you're probably just dehydrated. What we don't do is drink water throughout the day. Ask anyone. That's what they don't do. They don't drink water throughout the day, and they don't have to have like 5 gallons like you're doing. But if you're just drinking water, that's going to curb your appetite, and you'll find out that you don't really need to eat lunch. And you know what? If I eat lunch, I mean, I get off work at 2:30. I go in at 6. I get off at 2:30. But if I eat lunch and I got a meeting in the afternoon, dude, I'm ready to pass out. I'd rather just not eat lunch, have some water, and I'm good. I get home, I'm not starving, but I'm ready to eat. So,
like, dude, that was what was so surprising for me. Like, we talked about it before, obviously but was how much the water does curb the appetite, right? Like, I think when I was like 4 or 5 days in, I had the longest I'd gone, and it wasn't even like, oh, let's see how long I can go without eating, right? Because once you do that, it becomes like a competition. Then it just gets weird where like you still have to eat because your body still needs nutrition.
Right.
But I went like 18 hours, right? Like because I ate I had like a big meal, and like I ate like, because I hadn't eaten, and like the first thing I ate that day I didn't eat till like 2, and I had Subway, right? Because I was at the hospital, I was working, and then I had bread, right? So it was like the first, and I came home and I ate a little bit, like I snacked a little bit, like I had like my wife cooked some chicken and broccoli and rice, and I had like I tried it, but like that's all I ate, right? It was just basically that meal, and then I didn't eat again till the next day, to like probably close to like 1, you know. And I wasn't like, and again, just like because the amount of water I'm drinking, like I just wasn't hungry, you know. So it's not like I'm trying to like, oh man, let's see how long I can go without eating, because like I've been reading, because like I downloaded that Zero app, that funny enough on the Joe Rogan podcast they talked about.
Yeah.
Dr. Rhonda Patrick, the microbiologist.
Yeah.
She talked about that like her friend that's actually like a microbiologist as well, or some kind of scientist, like created that app. So he puts in like a bunch of articles, so like you learn more about it. And like, you know me, man, like when there's something that interests me, like I do all the research. I go, you know what I mean, for lack of a better term, like I go balls deep in it. You know what I mean, like I like to know everything about it. I like to know what's going on. And I'm reading all this shit. So like there's different kinds of like fasting. There's like circadian rhythm where you eat sun up to sundown and that's it. You know what I mean? Like because you get that way, and there's like a bunch of so like for women shouldn't do like 16-hour fast. They should do 13 or 14-hour because of their body. Like it just works out different ways. Like it's really interesting, man. Like it's not like I don't feel like I'm restricting myself from what I'm eating. Obviously, you don't fucking eat like McDonald's, you know what I mean? Like you don't get the supersize and all that shit because that doesn't make any kind of sense. But like so how I planned it was like I'll have my carbs, like my rice or whatever earlier in the day. Then after my workout, usually after my workout, and then I'll have my chicken and veggies. And then if I'm hungry again, like for dinner, I'll have eggs and bacon. I mean, so I have my proteins to end the day if I don't have like a protein shake or whatever, which I actually got to buy a protein powder again. So it's not like I'm doing this like, this game changing fucking thing where like I'm just eating veggies and fucking air and ice. You know what I mean? Like I'm not doing no crazy shit.
That's a thing. The air diet, by the way.
Yeah, the air diet. That's the thing. I'm sure somebody does.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen it on YouTube.
I'm sure there's a YouTube page called the Air Diet, and we're about to get a fucking ton of hate mail from it. Like these fucking assholes made fun of my diet. I got 100,000 subscribers.
Look at these fucking 6-pack abs,
and they're probably not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at these 6-pack abs, and I don't eat anything.
But I mean, I had experience with intermittent fasting. Like, I just started trying it within this last year, but I had some experience like when I was like when we were going to high school together. Because like I remember we'd hang out sometimes, and we go out to eat, and I'd look, and my food was gone because your fat ass ate it all.
Yep, I would eat your food.
I'd be without food, man, for 30 hours, man, until like maybe we went to your house, and your mom would see me start like I'm crawling to get across the living room, and your mom would be like, "What's going on with John? ¿Qué le pasa?" And then the chancleta would come out because I told her that you took my food.
I still got PTSD from la chancleta. Let's leave that out of this.
Benji. Oh shit.
Oh my god, Benji. When I was Benji, like, oh my god. Shit. I always knew she wanted me to do something. Like when she said it like that, like she always. Son, I was like, what was it, like 10 or 11, like whatever, like 10 or 11, 12 maybe, and she was like having me like lift up the furniture. Mind you, my brother was 2, so it's basically just me lifting it because she would like hurt her back and shit. So I'm moving couches around. Like, Mom, this is a 600 square foot apartment. Let's just let it be. Like we can't turn this couch enough, man. It's over. That's it. This is all we're gonna get from it. This is it.
You gotta get the feng shui right.
Yeah, you gotta get the fucking feng shui right, bro. Yeah, man. So yeah, it was. I didn't do. I'm so old for New Year's. Like I went to sleep at like 10. Like I was like all I heard was my neighbor shooting. Like it was so fucking. I was like, yo, fuck this. Like my wife fell asleep because she had to work in the morning. So I went to sleep. She was asleep by like 8:30. And I struggled to make it to 10. Like I was watching like random shit on YouTube. I went down the YouTube black hole. That's actually where like I learned more about IF and just watching like alien, you know what I mean, conspiracy theories and just the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was my, you know what I mean? That's what you do on YouTube. That was my New Year's, bro. Like,
bro,
it was I didn't do shit else.
I remember it was 10:30 and we were at my sister-in-law's house, and you know, bunch of us at the house in the living room. I'm on the couch. Next thing I know, it's 11:30, and I fucking fell asleep for an hour. I don't. You see this old man sweater? I'm old, man. I was tired. I was like, all right, when is midnight gonna get here so we can do these grapes? You know, eat these grapes and drink this wine and toast. I was exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I didn't have the energy for it, bro. Like
there goes the entire like young millennial, and if we had any Generation Z, they just tuned out.
Yeah.
What the fuck are these two old?
Yeah, like what the fuck? We're out doing lines of Adderall and cocaine, man, at the club when you're fucking 11, like 13 years old. Sorry, man, not us. I was asleep. I didn't care. Like whatever. I think I played a little bit of FIFA. I was just like, whatever, man. Like I'm just gonna hang out. Like I'm gonna try. I was like, I'm gonna try to make it to 12. I maybe made it to 11, maybe. I don't even like. I don't remember like the final time I fell asleep.
Yeah, the 1 hour
we
power
watched.
nap helping.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Netflix, right? Because I wasn't very busy with work, and she was home, so we watched. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that Kevin Hart miniseries documentary thing. That was pretty interesting, man. Dude, it was interesting because like it goes behind the scenes of like all the shit that's happened to him in like the last year, like when he like cheated on his wife, the whole Oscars thing. But like it's interesting seeing like how he handled it, and I thought like obviously you know what I mean, you can have your feelings about it one way or the other on either of those things and all that shit, and like it shows him like fighting with his friends. But I thought it was kind of crazy, like him letting people in that much. You know what I mean? Because like that usually you kind of keep that private, and that's what I thought wasn't like. I just watched it for like that interesting aspect. I was like, yo, like I don't let people like I do a 1 hour. We do 2 hours of a podcast, and I try to figure out what to talk about without saying, you know what I mean, without saying too much, and not bringing too many people into my life. I mean, because like you try to separate what's private and what's public, right?
Right.
Because this is kind of like a public persona in a way, and it's a public podcast, So I was like, man, like we figure out what to talk about for an hour. Like this guy's letting people in for that's probably like 60 to 100 hours of footage that they got that they drilled it down to like 6 episodes. It was interesting though, man. You should check it out.
I mean, I knew it was coming out, just like Messiah. I saw a trailer for that, and you told me it's already. You're like, gonna watch episode 2. I didn't know it was out already. So, because I listen to audiobooks and I read. I'm sophisticated. I'm educated. I'm a little bit above watching Netflix. No, I'm not. I'm actually watching The Good Place. I'm watching The Good Place with my wife.
I fucking love that show, bro. That show.
We just started. We're like on episode 4 or 5, and I'm like, this is. You know who told me about it? Chris, my brother. He told me about it, and he told me about it like a year ago. He goes, "Oh, you might like this." I was like, "All right." And then I kind of didn't think anything of it, and I was flipping through Netflix because I just put my my book down because I was reading. When I'm not reading, I'm working out. When I'm not working out, I'm reading. That's what I do.
First of all,
or I teach, or I mentor.
Don't do that gesture with the camera because it looks looks like somewhere was happening over there. They just like don't do that gesture because we're gonna get kicked off Facebook.
If you think it was happening, that's whatever you think was happening was happening.
That's what was happening.
Yeah, so I flipped through Netflix and I saw it, and it's hilarious. Yeah, we got to start watching it again because we started last week.
Yeah, Kristen Bell's hilarious in that show, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's. I mean, I've been a fan of her since fucking Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, I remember
that. When she did that with like Russell Brand and Jason Segel, I think was the other guy's name.
Yeah.
But dude, that show's really good. But the Messiah, like my cousin, like Steven, right? Like we had him on the last podcast before the end of the year. Like he texted me out of nowhere, all caps, real Donald Trump, like all fucking caps. Ben, 3 different texts. Ben, the Messiah. Next text. Fucking watch it. I'm like, all right, man.
I'm picturing him yelling that shit.
He's like, all right, man, love you. I was like, all right, cool, bro. Love you too, man. I'll check it out. I told my wife about it. We watched the first episode. It's good, man. Like I don't know where it's gonna go because it's like if you watch the trailer, because I'm not gonna give anything away other than the trailer. It's 1 minute, right? Yeah. Like it was like, are they gonna convert you or con you, right? Like so you're trying to figure out like what he says. You gotta like do this. It's good though, man. It's really good. I'm gonna watch it right after this. But I highly recommend it. I know you and your wife will like it, like 100%.
I know. I believe.
And they use the Messiah character, right? Like the Jesus, Middle Eastern. Shout out to that. And they didn't like whitewash that because I was like, oh man, they're gonna have somebody that looks like John on there with long hair.
By the way, I do have the look. I'm just a little. It's just light.
Dude, if you grow the hair out, you would look like white Jesus.
Look, here I am. Don't I have to look?
Yeah, you really would. You would look like white. All right, stop it. That looks a little weird. We're gonna have a whole new cult following and shit.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the Messiah, that other show or mockumentary by Netflix. Was it Gay Jesus in Brazil? There's
I
a
haven't seen
comedy.
that one.
I haven't seen it, but there's a comedy troupe, and they like created. It's essentially, I think it's, the story of Jesus, but he's gay. It's supposed to be funny, but it's all, and they made it to
Oh,
they try.
did Brazil kill them?
They're trying to get him. Yeah. Well, they attacked or they threw Molotov cocktails or something at like the people that created it in Brazil, and they're forcing Netflix to take it off of Netflix. I don't know if they're actually going through with it or not. But
they in Brazil they kill homosexuals like straight up. Like
yeah.
They like throw them off buildings and shit. Like it's crazy.
Obviously, that was blasphemy. You can't do that. Jesus can't be gay.
No, Jesus can't be gay, and Jesus doesn't. Are we one day gonna have? This is a question for later. Are we one day gonna have a really awkwardly honest conversation about religion, or are we just gonna like leave it to like what our parents taught us and never question it? I'm just curious. I feel like one day we should. I don't know. I've never asked you this. I'm totally putting you on the spot. Like I've never asked what your thoughts are on religion.
I believe in ancient astronauts. Ancient aliens and the astronaut theory. No, honestly, like I was raised Catholic, and then I left the Catholic Church a long time ago, and then I tried to like,
as did I.
Christianity and all that stuff. And I'll say I'm agnostic. I'm not really atheist. My wife is Christian. Our kid, for anyone, whatever religion you are, I think your spirituality, your relationship with God, however he or she may look to you, I think that's a personal thing. It has nothing to do with any religion. But people are taught differently. Like people are taught you have to go to church, you have to tithe, you have to do this and that, or follow certain rules. But man, if there are so many gods, if there are so many gods and they all believe certain things, right? Like which God is right? No, my God, no, your God, no, his God. So at the end of the day, it's like I'm pretty sure if there's a God, it's probably one God. And the rule that I live by is at the end of the day, like we're human beings. Like are there other things out there, other people, other living beings? Maybe, but all we know is you and me, and just like treat each other with respect and dignity, regardless of like what your religion is. But that shit is too logical for some people. If you say that to somebody and they're a fervent believer of something,
oh my God, you don't believe in God,
or not even that. Like even if you talk to like an atheist and they're like, no, you can't even have that. Like you can't even have that point of view where I say like, well, there probably is a God. I mean, I don't know, but I'm questioning it. They're like, no, there definitely is not. They're like vegans, and a vegan atheist needs to be shot in the head.
They're worse than vegans, though. They're worse than vegans, right? Because vegans are like, oh, meat is murder, but then they go on about their life. Like you can't have a conversation with an atheist because the thought of you being inquisitive to what could possibly be is the most ridiculous and blasphemous thing. Hey, fucker, you can't believe in blasphemy if you don't believe in God. So how about that, bitch? Like, get off your fucking high horse. Whatever.
How many?
That's a podcast for later.
Yeah, how many atheist vegans or vegan atheists are there? I'd like to put them together in a room or just move them to Nebraska or something. I don't know.
Here's the holy triumvirate: a vegan CrossFitter atheist. Gotta be nothing worse than that. Gotta be nothing worse than that. Yeah, man, you gotta check out Messiah. You gotta check out Messiah. It's really good. What else? What else is there? Dude, we tried to watch The Irishman. It is long, Jonathan. So, dude, it's 3.5 hours, bro. When it gets to like the Al Pacino thing, where he's Hoffa, like I think I made it like an hour and 20 minutes. I was like, dude, this is an entire movie that I've already watched. Like I'm out. Like my wife was like, yeah, I'm gonna do other stuff while this is on. Just tell me what happens. I fell asleep, bro. Like she comes out, she's like, yo, Cam, like I'm fucking like this one, huh? What? Oh shit. I didn't even know I fell asleep.
And the movie's still going on.
Movie's still going on. It's like fucking anesthesia. Like, oh, I thought I was awake. It was not good though, bro.
The closest I got to watching that movie.
It's good, but it's not. It's too long, bro. It's just too for the time it is now. We're used to binging 48-minute episodes and moving on. So try to sit there to watch straight 3.5 hours. I'm out. I can't do it. I can't. Mm-mm. I refuse. I refuse. Put my foot down on that one, bro. So
Was it good? The
if you
hour and a
want to
half
watch,
that you saw?
the hour and a half is good. I mean, it's got legend actors in it, right? Like
Right.
it's got Al Pacino. It does have Dustin Hoffman. It has all like the old white
All the
actors that we
mobster
grew up
guys.
watching.
Yeah, and they play
Yeah, all the
mobsters in
mobsters.
the movies.
Especially they play. That's all they do is play mobsters. Play versions of mobsters in different movies. Like, can
Right.
make you an offer. You know what I mean? Like that was my mobster. That was my mobster impression. That was it. That was it. I'm gonna try that stage once. Like when I finally get up to do an open mic. Like you guys want
Hey,
to see my
speaking
mobster?
of, yeah, what's going on with that?
Yeah, yeah. I started listening to a book because that I'm trying to figure out. Like I know I can talk shit, right? I've been doing this.
Right.
I got almost like 1,000 hours or whatever doing this shit, so I know I can talk. But I'm trying to figure out like how to structure a joke and where to get the laughs. But I feel like the only way I'm gonna know what works is like for me to like just to throw myself on stage and do some open mics and figure out, you know what I mean? Just get over like the nerves of it and then figure it out. Like I've been doing a lot of almost like jokes because for my job, you know what I mean? Like one of the aspects of my job is like to entertain and be personable with the people I'm working with.
Right.
So like I talk a lot of shit and talk a lot of jokes. And I had like I basically did like I guess you could call it like a little set of my interactions with police, right? Like I've told you about like Border Patrol, and now I got 2 new things with the lady at the DMV, and which we'll talk about on Sunday.
All right.
With the lady at the DMV and the lady at Walmart. You know what I mean? Where you have like these new racial moments where like you don't realize that it's racist till after. Like my wife had to tell me like, you know, she was accusing you of stealing. Like, oh shit, oh okay, you right? Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like because it happened in that moment. Like and the things you got to be conscious of. So I think like that's kind of like how I want to like stream my set and figure it out. Just like because it's like learning about different styles of jokes. Like Hannibal Buress has like anecdotal comedy, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like you learn about that whole thing, and then you got storytelling, and then you have just jokes, right? Like knock knock, you know what I mean? Like that type of shit. So just trying to figure out which observational stuff. You have storytelling. You have different ones. Like I didn't realize this until I was listening to the book. Like Mark Twain was a huge observationalist comedian. That's why the biggest comedian in the country, Dave Chappelle, or in the world, just got the Mark Twain prize.
Right.
Like, but I didn't put those two things together. That like Mark Twain was a comedian, so like this guy's reading off Mark Twain. I was like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Like he was the OG. Like this guy toured the country doing stand up, and I didn't even think about it because he wrote these great books. Like was it Huckleberry Finn and all these different books. So you just think about him as an author and not a comedian. So it's interesting though, man. Yeah. Like I've always, and I'm going a little long. Like I've always wanted to do this. Like I've always kind of like I've always been, I guess, like enamored with comedians. You know what I mean? And like seeing comedians all like most of the time growing up. Like I saw a bunch in Hawaii and in Miami and shit like that. Not so much since I moved to Tampa, just because I never thought of Tampa as Miami in the sense that like people would want to go there. You know what I mean? Sorry, but like now, like I was like, man, like I just want to try it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it would be easier for me to get on stage in Tampa than it would be for me to do anything in Miami. You know, and you can find an open mic anywhere.
You can. No, and look, that's the one thing about Cleveland. But it's probably because they know it gets so shitty here in the winter. They have a really, really good comedy club here called Hilarities. And so I've seen like Natasha Leggero and her husband. I've seen them. It's a small, like pretty small, intimate room. So I've seen her. I've seen Chris D'Elia. I've seen.
How's Chris D'Elia live?
Dude, fucking incredible. Just crazier than watching, because I saw him live working out his latest special that he put out last year. So I saw him working that out before he finally, refined it to what it is. And when I saw him, he pretty much had it down to the final form, because that's what they do. They'll tour. These guys will tour and tweak it. And so I actually saw him twice, and I saw him before he put out. Was it Man on Fire? I don't know. And then, so I saw him before he put out his last two specials. I saw him like working those sets out, and bro, it's hilarious. He's ridiculous. I saw him. When I lived downtown, I used to go watch. They would bring big comedians all the time. I saw Brian Regan, but I didn't see him in that room. I saw him in like a big theater because he was doing a big theater show. And so, yeah, it's an awesome place for comedy, and they have a pretty big stand up scene over here as well, like open mics and just a lot of local comics. So I mean, I
Dude,
guess right, hard times. People living in Cleveland, it's a blue collar town.
yeah,
It's cold as shit.
yeah,
So it's a
yeah.
lot of stuff that you can talk about, make stories, shit people have been through. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that there would be a big comedy scene here.
Chris D'Elia is on my list of comedians I want to see, and Andrew Santino and Andrew Schultz. I think
miss
those
Santino.
two
He was here last month.
yeah, like he's one guy that I want to see. I think that guy's hilarious. But if you mention Chris D'Elia, if you haven't seen it, his performance, bro, because it was a performance on the last episode of Fighter and the Kid last year.
Yeah,
was one of the funniest, most bro. Like when they brought it,
I didn't finish
I
the
listened,
episode. I didn't finish the whole thing. But
dude.
yeah.
I've listened to it twice, bro. Like, did you get to the part where he's talking to Theo Vaughn, where he like kind of gives him a compliment, and he like Theo Vaughn gets defensive. He's like, "And that's how I know you were molested."
Yeah. I got
like,
past that.
Dude,
you can't even say,
bro.
Yeah.
Can't even say something nice. It wasn't
Yeah.
nice. It was like kind of nice, but it wasn't. I was like, dude, it was one of the. I think when he hits Brian Callen with the oops. Oh,
oops.
dude.
Or what's the other one where he kind of turns his back or gives the side to Theo, and he's like, "What are you like?
Yeah.
Give me the cold shoulder, boxing me out here." Oh.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? I appreciate that. I'm gonna let you all the way in, and like he puts his arm out. Dude, I've listened to it. Yeah, I listened to it twice, and I've watched it once, and it's like watching stand up. Like I might watch that again. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Like it was so funny, man. Because like these are all like great friends, right? Like these are all, and they're all comics, but the banter of everybody with Brian Callen is some of the funniest shit. Like they're back and forth. Like, dude, go back and watch. Like, there's one that they did like last year where it was Chris D'Elia and Will Sasso with Brian Callen. Fucking hilarious, bro. I'll send you the link because you have to watch it. Like, listening to it is cool, but like you have to watch like the way they interact with each other, man.
That's a thing. Performance. I'm watching this thing, this episode you're talking about, the last one that they did, and he's putting on a performance, and I'm like. I think I told you, like, my wife is watching me, and she's like, "What are you laughing at? Like, you have not stopped laughing for these last 50 minutes. Take a breath."
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Couldn't do it. It was fucking, bro. It's honestly, bro. Like all the podcasts I listen to, that's the first time I've ever listened to the same podcast twice, ever, and like watched it already once. Might as well like I've watched it and heard it 3 times, Mac. I would watch it again because I'm laugh because you catch different things because you laugh over a lot of things that are said. So you laugh at different things at different times, dude. It's the funniest shit ever. And my wife was looking at me the same one, like it's not that funny because you know when like here's a thing like when you're laughing too hard at something and somebody else is like doesn't laugh as hard, they don't find it as funny. Like my wife does it. Like my wife will find like I don't know if you saw like a couple months ago like a dog fainting trying to get his nails cut. And she's crying, laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's funny. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of works like that.
So I was watching it, and I don't know what was going on. Maybe there's a lot going on in the background, or I asked my wife. I was like, "Do you want me to just put on my headphones?" And so I think it made it worse for her because now I got this on the big screen on the Samsung, and I have my Bluetooth headphones on, and she just sees these people on the screen. They're just talking, but she doesn't hear what the hell they're. And I'm like dying on the couch. And she's just like looking at me like, well, you told me to. You said I could put on the headphones. You weren't laughing when it was coming out of the speaker.
Yeah,
that was
like you were there.
I think I got like 30 minutes left of that episode.
Dude, if I were you, I would just start it over and just run it all the way through again. It is the funniest shit ever, bro. It is so funny. And then Chris D'Elia like bombed Brian Callen, like invaded Brian Callen's show in like Phoenix, and like they made like with like his own stand up, like and he did his own set, dude. It was so funny because it was like that same week where he did that performance on the podcast. It was awesome, bro. It was fucking amazing.
Right, because that was one of the things that they're talking in the podcast, and he's like, "Oh, what are your shows?" So they're talking about their upcoming shows and their schedules, and then after Callan gives the rundown of like, "I'm gonna be here and here and here," D'Elia goes on and he's like, "Yeah, don't go to those. He's garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not
like,
funny. But come to my shows. I'm gonna be at this place
Yeah.
and this place and this place."
He's like, if you're a fan of mine, don't go.
No.
What is wrong with this guy? Oh my god. Dude, it was so like we're like talking about. I don't give a fuck, man. That is the greatest podcast, the funniest podcast I've ever heard. Like out of all the ones, and out of all the times Chris D'Elia's been on it, Theo Vaughn, Joe Coy, one of my favorite comedians of all time. Like all these comedians, that's the funniest podcast ever, bro. The funniest podcast, hands down, bar none. It was a performance, man. Like it was like you in that moment, you could tell who the best comedian. And you know what I mean? Because all three of them are comedian. Like there's just different levels. You know what I mean? Like there's Brendan Schaub's awesome. You know what I mean? He's the business driven guy. Brian Callen's classic, but Chris D'Elia is just just up here with it, man.
Yeah,
like
Theo
it was
like, I mean, I wouldn't say he's up and coming because he's been up and coming for a while, and he just got mainstream, I guess, more recently than D'Elia. Theo is.
Yeah.
I think that's why you have to rewind it. You got to catch some of the stuff, and that's why you mentioned it. You got to rewind it and watch some of the stuff. Because D'Elia will say something, you'll laugh, and then Theo would just like slip something in there on the slide, and you're like, and so I'm stuck. I'm like, what did he just say? Did he just get him back?
Yeah. Like when Chris is like, no, I'm just saying. He goes, just say it then. Just stop saying. Just say it. Just stop saying that you're gonna say it. You take more time saying that you're gonna say something than just saying it. Dude, I was crying. Yeah. All right, man. I think we'll do La Chancleta for next podcast. We'll save it because nothing's gonna change. I was gonna talk about the NFL. They're still gonna have only 3 head coaches that are black. So we'll call that a little tease for the next one. Because I'm gonna go ahead and watch some fucking Messiah, bro. Again, if you haven't watched it, bro, watch the first episode. Stop whatever your son is watching right now. Tell him, look, I'm still taller than you. We're watching the Messiah. And then you sit there and watch it because he's got to go to bed in a little bit anyway. Highly recommend it, bro. Let me know what you think. It's fucking incredible. The first episode alone, I was like, yo, we would have binged it all yesterday, but I had to get up at like 2 a.m., so couldn't do it.
I'll give it a shot, man. I'm too busy reading books and coaching and mentoring and doing stuff that people do with this sweater. I can't just watch Messiah when I got the sweater on. I gotta do sophisticated. I have to do different things. I can't just watch Messiah or Homeland. I have to read motives for writing arguments, understanding arguments, and even the Holy Bible because I just need to be informed just in case. But you need some Jesus in your life.
Let's just leave it here. That's a public speaking sweater, right? Like that's a sweater you wear when you talk to kids to try to get them off drugs, right? But fail and also sell them cocaine by the gym, right? Like that's what that sweater looks like. Like that sweater looks like you have cocaine in your right pocket. Like that little jean pocket, the one that's for chain.
Oh, this is what drug dealers look like that deal cocaine. This is it. This is the drug dealer outfit right here. But dealing strictly cocaine.
Like drug dealers that sell Adderall to 12-year-olds. That's what that looks like.
Come on now. I got morals, dude. They got to be 13 teenagers. Come on. 12-year-olds.
1996 Ford Probe in that sweater. That's
Ford Probe. Jesus.
All right, man.